Hi, my name is Jack Higginbotham. I'm the COO of PRS Guitars. For the last couple of years, I have been pretty deeply involved in the SE project. So we're here today to talk about the PRS SE Pulse guitar. In order to really get into this guitar and understand what it's about, we have to go back in time and talk about the beginning of the project. So the project started in the late 90s. Carlos Santana had a string of hit records, was doing massive tours, obviously huge fan base. He's going out, he's playing in front of a bazillion people, and he wants a guitar with his name on it that he is using, that he is proud of, and he wants them to be able to have that guitar too. When the project started, if you look at one of the very early PRS SE guitars, it's a PRS obviously, it has some of our trademarks in it. The care that went into those instruments and trying to make the highest quality that we could is all inside of that guitar. But as you go through time, you just start to see how PRS guitars as a company evolved, how our thinking has changed, how we have gained knowledge and then applied that knowledge. You just see that grow if you look at a timeline of our guitars made here in Maryland or the guitars that we've made within the PRS SE line. And the Pulse guitar is kind of the culmination of that. The SE Pulse guitar is the most intensive and the most intentional project that we've had inside of the SE business to date. Intensive because there are 1,000 details that need to be covered in the guitar, and a lot of time and effort and back and forth and prototyping to be able to do some of the things that this guitar does. Intentional because Paul already had in his mind what this guitar was before we ever started, so he knew what the end point was. Rather than talk through all of those individually, let's get Paul in here to kind of talk through what he's looking for in this guitar, what he's looking for in all guitars in general. Here's the first question I have for you. What is it that you were looking for in the Pulse guitar originally? What is it that was your goal as a musician? What were you shooting for? Not necessarily the SE Pulse guitar, but with the Pulse guitar in general. What were you looking for?
All right, so there is a single coil sound that's associated with, pickups about this wide, right? And maybe a little bit wider. And then there are humbucking guitars with covers on them, without covers on them. And we started making something called a 408. And in the 408, you had a narrower bass pickup because it was sensing a shorter piece of string, and a wider treble pickup. And as time went on and we were making those things, those 408 bass pickups, they sounded really good. And so I experimented and stuck one in the wide ring with a smaller thing and started to use it all the time because it didn't sound like a covered pickup. It didn't sound like a single coil, but it had real single coil qualities. It had real P90 qualities and humbucking qualities all together. But it wasn't a bad mix. It was a better mix for me. And in the band I'm in, we're having more and more people play in the band, whether they be endorsers or sit in, whatever. And I needed a place in which every time I played I could be heard because it was getting complex harmonically in the band.
Right.
So when you decided to do this SE, I said, I think we can do that sound on these bobbins and put more of a 408 ring on it. And what we spent, you and I spent 9 months working on just to get this pickup straight, just to get that straightened out. And I like the way this guitar sounds. This is a guitar for, somewhere around $1,000 map that you could play for the rest of your life.
So far, what we're talking about predominantly is the coils, the pickups, the switching, the philosophy of t.c.i. that was a part of the Pulse guitar and now is a part of the SE Pulse guitar. Kind of explain what that is philosophically.
Okay, so pickups have a sound. It's kind of like a tuned note, like on a Neve console or something, And these switches literally don't imitate a single coil sound. We've changed the wiring so that it is a single coil. And there was a lot of special things that we did for that, and I'm really happy with that. But the tune capacitive inductive thing, the t.c.i thing, is literally about tuning these coils and this whole pickup as a whole to exactly the note that we want it to be tuned to. Now, if the note is too loud, then all you hear is the note. But in a guitar, you have lots and lots and lots of different frequencies going on. So it's how loud that note is and what is the note. And we've got our hands around that. And that whole t.c.i thing, more and more and more and more, is becoming something that's standard in this building.
So other things that make this a Paul guitar, aside from other guitars that we make, the bridge is pretty unique. So,
Well, you've got basically a private stock bridge on a SE guitar, which is cool.
So talk about that bridge and why it is made the way it is.
Okay, so it's our aluminum stop tailpiece bridge, but we started inserting brass rod right where the string leaves the bridge, and it made the note clearer. And one of the things I insisted, and you and I agreed on this, was that we were going to use this bridge on this SE instrument. It seems to have worked out really well.
Yeah.
There was another change that you made, which was instead of a beveled carve, this is a very light carve on the top, and I really like that.
Right.
It's not all the way to the way we carve the Maryland guitars, but it's getting closer, and it looks beautiful to me.
So body, pickups, bridge, switching, anything else about this guitar that you think's particularly?
Yeah, it's got a really hard, thin finish on it that I like. Look, very often you got a guitar on, you want to be able to plug it in and have it work. You don't want it to fight you, and this guitar isn't doing that. For me, that's the part that's important. For somebody who buys an SE, that they're getting way more than their money's worth.
Yeah, good value. I mean,
Yeah, that's the idea.
there's a ton of value packed inside of this thing. So cool.
Look, this kind of backbone, background work before we release an instrument is important because everybody notices it. They pick it up and they go, oh, well, either they like it or they don't. It's an instantaneous reaction. And then you have this long-term reaction. Do I keep it? Do I play it all the time? Where is it in my collection? Da, 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 da. By the way, you got the colors right, too. That's cool. It reminds me a little bit of the early PRS thing, red, blue, and yellow.
That
right?
could
cool.
not be an accident.
Could have been an accident. Well, I didn't catch that till just this second. So that's cool. So this guitar is going to be at NAMM, and it's released, and here we go.